Welcome to the SavanKnits knitting podcast. This is my first time ever doing a knitting podcast. I'm sure it will be rusty, but hopefully I'll get better as I go on. Just a little introduction. I'm Savannah. I am from Utah. I live here with my husband and our two little boys, and I've been knitting for about almost 2 years. I started in October of 2022, and ever since I started knitting, I have been obsessed with it. And then I recently discovered knitting podcasts this year, and I have also been obsessed with those. I love getting inspiration from other people's projects, so I thought I would start my own because I want to join that part of the knitting community, and also just to gain more insight into my process as a knitter and document my knitting journey. Here we are. Hopefully it goes well. And that being said, I also want to learn more about you guys. So please comment. Let me know where you're from, what you're working on. Let me know if you have a podcast or a knitting YouTube channel, because I would love to watch it and check it out. We're just going to do a traditional podcast format today, starting with finished objects. I'm wearing a recently finished object. This is the Skyline tee by Tori Yu. I made it in a size 5, and it's a little bit of a boxy fit. I use Knitting for Olive. Love Knitting for Olive. Is my first time using the yarn. Obviously a little bit on the pricey side, but I feel like it's a little bit worth it just because the quality feels so good. The ply is really good. It's like pretty soft for a wool yarn. It's also my first time doing a garment in a fingering weight, and I love how light it feels. And even though it's like a tee made of wool, it doesn't feel heavy or too warm for my climate. I don't think I would wear it outside when it's 100 degrees, but when I'm inside in air conditioning, I can wear it pretty easily. I also have to wear a tank top underneath this because it is a little bit see-through for my preferences. And I feel like it still doesn't feel bulky or thicker anyway, wearing a tank top underneath this. So that's what I'm wearing. And then my most recently finished object is my Doppio sweater. Look how beautiful it is. I will for sure put up some videos and pictures while I'm talking about it, because it's kind of hard to see it obviously on camera, but look at the beautiful marling of the yarns. I love the entire process of this sweater. Picking out the yarns was perfect. Loved pairing different ideas together. I've always wanted a pink sweater. I love pink, but sometimes I have to be careful about the shade of pink because of my red hair. I found a combination that I really love. I used Cascade 220 fingering in Peony. I used Treehouse Knits mohair in It's Casual Day. And then I used Madeline Tosh Merino Light in Kawaii. Used those three together. Made obviously the perfect fabric for me. I love it so much. It's my first time working with mohair too. I didn't know if I would like it or not, but I love how fuzzy it is. We'll see if it's too warm to wear like inside. I mean, obviously it would be really great in the winter. Utah, we get very cold winters, a fair amount of snow, so it'd be perfect for going outside. My boys love playing in the snow, and I really wanted a really cozy, fluffy, warm sweater I could wear outside and just not be cold while they're playing at the park. So, perfection. Love it so much. I made a size 4. I am a 43-inch bust, so I made this in just under a week, which is insanity. I have a reason for that. I got a cold, so it was a lot of relaxing as much as I can with 2 little boys. So it was a lot of, watching things with them. Shout out to Gigantosaurus on Disney Plus. Did a bulk of it watching that. And then me and my husband went on an overnight after, I was feeling good, and we watched a lot of old episodes of Top Gear. So I finished like a whole sleeve just doing that. So anyways, it was like perfect circumstances of finishing a sweater in a week. Probably will never happen again, but it's also a bulky weight with the 3 yarns held together, so it was possible. So yes, I started it on July 26th and finished it on July 31st. That's my only finished object right now. Next are the my works in progress. The first one I have been working on and off since January. It is the Esther. It's just called Esther, but it is a sweater by Helene Mira, or on Instagram she's Helene Moo. She co-wrote it and co-published it with Scapel. I'll just show you my version. Here it is. I definitely am going for more muted colors, obviously. I have the bottom half of the sweater, and then I have 2 sleeves made. I did the bottom half of the sweater, and then I stopped, and then I did a sleeve, and then I stopped, and then I did a sleeve. The reason for that is pattern is not very well written. It, especially for US pattern, or US knitters, I guess, is that I'm discovering that US knitters are used to a lot of explanation, a lot of hand holding, and that's, I prefer that because I still consider myself a learning knitter. I don't know all of the techniques yet. I'm still learning learning new things in almost every new pattern that I make. So it's helpful for me, but I'm discovering that overseas knitters, especially ones in Denmark and Norway and, you know, those countries, they don't expect as much detail on their patterns, and I've definitely found that with this pattern. There's also been some mistakes in the pattern, some stitch counts not lining up, some dots missing on the charts that you have to figure out and fill in yourself. All in all, it's a little bit of a frustrating knit, but I am stubborn, and if I start it, I'm gonna finish it. So I was going to like keep going with this, and then I realized that to like join it, so like you have the bottom and then you're gonna like attach the sleeves on the side, on either side, and then do the yoke after. I realized that I need to keep going on the body a little bit more to match where I ended with the sleeve. I need to add a couple more rows of blue. It does not sound that bad, but to me it sounds overwhelming because I am just overwhelmed with this sweater. But I will finish it eventually. I'll just keep coming back to it. Maybe after I finish my next sweater project, I'll just come back to this, do as much as I can handle, and then put it away again and just keep going until it's done. Hopefully I can get it done in under a year, but we shall see. I'm making a size small. It's supposed to be very oversized, and I personally don't love oversized, saying this as I'm wearing an oversized tee. But for the most part, I like my clothes to be a little bit more form-fitting, so I chose a small. So I don't even know if it's going to fit right because the yoke doesn't have any special shaping. It's just your basic raglan, and I don't even know if there's any short rows or anything in the back. Reading ahead in the pattern, I can't really understand it. So we'll just see how it fits. Hopefully it will fit okay. Okay, and then my next project that I'm working on regularly are the Shudanma mittens by Hannah Levanimi. I have this much. It's got some pretty cables going on. I already have one mitten done. I suppose I should show this one. I don't have a pair of wool mittens. And again, I am outside a lot with my boys when it's cold. So I need some wool mittens to keep my fingers warm because the basic ones that you get from the basic department store don't do the job. So, and it's my first time knitting mittens, and I've always wondered how they work. So it's been fun to figure that out and go along. I am using some Danish yarn my parents got for me when they went to Denmark a couple years ago now. Just finally getting around to it. This is the label. It is all in Danish, so I'm not gonna try to pronounce it. If my husband were here, he would be able to read this for me. He speaks Danish. But it's very pretty gray. It's pretty rough wool. Like, I wouldn't make a sweater or a hat out of this, but I think it will be perfect for mittens. So, also this pattern is free. So, if you are wanting to make some mittens, highly recommend. It's very easy to follow, very beautiful. I started these mittens on August 4th, and I'm hoping to finish this week. We shall see how that goes though. Mostly I knit them either in the evenings if I happen to be watching something, or when my boys are watching Gigantosaurus. So we shall see how much I get done. And then my last work in progress, I always have socks going. I got into socks this year through Summerlee Knits. Summerlee Design Co. is what she's known here on YouTube. I'm obsessed with socks. I love making them. And I find they're the perfect project that I can put down and pick back up whenever I want. If I'm doing a basic sock, which is great for having kids. So I always have a sock pair going, and I usually leave this bag downstairs. So I am only doing some rows when my kids are playing outside or just playing nicely with toys and I don't have to intervene very much. So these are the socks that I'm making right now. I've got the heel flap and the gusset decreases and all of that done. So I'm just working on the foot. And this yarn is by Lovejoy Fibers in the shade Waffle Cone. This is actually my second pair of socks made from this yarn. Doing a 3-inch heel with a size large, so 72 stitch cast on, I only used 49 grams for my first pair, so I'm making a second pair with the rest of it. I'm trying to figure out the perfect sock size for my foot because I'm a size 9.5 usually, between a 9 and a 10 depending on the shoe, and I'm discovering that's like exactly between the sizes for sock sizes. I could either be a medium with 64 stitch cast on, or I could be a large with a 72 cast on, all using a size 1 needle. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what my size is because a size large in my very first sock was way too big. And then a size medium is pretty tight. But now my gauge has changed a little bit because I'm making more and more socks, so my gauge is tighter. So I need to figure out if I am really a size large or if I need to do a size medium, but with like a longer heel flap and more gusset decreases. Anyways, so I'm trying to figure that out, and it's kind of slow going. So I'm doing this in a size large, just a basic size large, not really making any modifications to it, and we'll see if my gauge is tight enough that this will actually fit me and not be too big, or if I need to do a size medium but then lengthen the heel flap. This is what I use by Summerlee. I got this book for Mother's Day and it changed my life. Not really, but kind of. So I'm just following her basic sock pattern in here with the heel flap and gusset, and I have found it very helpful. Okay, I think that that's all of my works in progress. So I thought I would take this time and talk about some knitting plans that I have. I feel like I have 3 knitting related hobbies. There's the actual knitting, there's yarn buying, which, I mean, I don't have a huge stash. I try to be very intentional about what I buy, but it's definitely, it feels like a hobby is just buying yarn. And then my third one is planning. I love the planning part. I love looking at patterns and figuring out which yarn would work with it and colors, and it makes me excited to plan for the next project. also motivates me to finish my current project. And a lot of people talk about whether they're a progress knitter or a product knitter, and I feel like I'm definitely both. I love the process, or did I say progress? Process knitter. I love the process. I also love the product, but I also love the planning part. So I just want to like get to what I've planned. So I have a couple things planned. The first is the Courage Henley by Tori Yu. I'm going to be doing a test knit for that. And my yarn comes on Friday. So I'm hoping to finish those mittens, maybe this current sock that I have that I just showed, by Friday. So when that yarn comes, I can just dive on in to the test knit. I am going to be knitting it in Cascade 220. I think it will be a perfect basic sweater to just throw on top of things. I'm making it in a size 4, and I think with those measurements it'll end up being a little bit bigger. I don't think it'll be as much of a form-fitting sweater as I usually do, which I think I will love because I can just throw on top of a t-shirt or something else if I'm heading out. So I'm excited for that test knit. This will be my second Tori Yu pattern. Obviously this one is my first, but I'm excited for that. So that'll be good. And then Summer Lee Knits is doing a colorwork cuff club for the next year, starting this month and going till next July, where she is, for $12 one-time fee, you get a colorwork chart for some basic socks, and the colorwork is just on the cuff of the sock, so it's not the whole thing. And I definitely signed up. And I don't know if I'm gonna be making a colorwork socks every single month, but I love just having all of these options. I feel like colorwork on the cuff is not as intimidating as having the colorwork all over the sock. So I want to do the August chart. I want to do it in this Cascade Heritage Melon is the colorway for this, the tonal. I think I'm going to do this as the base color, and then I have this mystery white skein. So I have no idea what it is. I don't even think it's a full fingering. It kind of looks like a sport weight to me. It looks a little thicker than fingering. I could be wrong. So white flowers with a melon base all over. And I think that will look really good. We'll see if I get to it this month. And then I also, once I figure out my perfect sock pattern, perfect sock measurements for myself, I have this beautiful yarn by Surella Yarn, the color Beach House. It's like a limited edition yarn, I think. I'll put a picture of the skein because I caked it up so you can't really see the colors as well. I tried to make a sock out of this already and then had to frog it because it was too small. So I'm waiting to see what my sock size is before I go into that. Those are my plans for the moment. And now I would like to talk about some acquisitions that I got. Some yarn mail. Yet another Surella yarn. I got this beautiful skein of sock yarn called Cosmos, and it is a stellina sock, so it's got those sparkly bits. My first stellina sock yarn. I love it so much. I'm discovering with socks that I can knit in whatever color I want. This color I don't feel like it would go perfectly with my hair for my personal preference. I know some people can pull anything off with red hair, but I am not that confident. So I love this color so much. I love this pink. I love this yellow. Don't think I would ever wear it in a sweater or closer to my face, I guess, my hair. But in socks, I can wear this all day long and not be bothered. So another reason why I love making socks. So I'm excited to eventually make this when I figure out what my sock size is. And then I've been doing some Christmas planning, some Christmas gifts. So if I know you in real life, cut the video right now. I have these two together. Beautiful red, beautiful cream, Cascade Heritage. I think this is Christmas red or something, and then I think this is natural. And these two are gonna make a sock for my mom. I think I'm gonna do like a snowflake pattern, so it'll be a base red with a white snowflake color work on the cuff. So that's the plan for that. And then I have this beautiful brown for my dad's socks. I don't know if I'm gonna do color work for him or if I'm just gonna knit him a pair of basic socks, or if I'm going to add in color work with this natural cream that I have. I haven't decided yet, but it's also my first time buying this Cascade Heritage sock yarn. It's a DK sock yarn, and it is so soft. I love it. I've knitted in Cascade Heritage fingering before, and I enjoyed it. It was a little bit splitty, but it was definitely soft. But this DK is just really plump and soft. I feel like I would make a sweater in this, even though it's sock yarn. And then for my husband, I have this cool gray sock yarn, also DK. I'm gonna make him some thick socks. He loves wearing socks. He wears socks even in the summer. These will be perfect for him. I also haven't decided what pattern or if I'm gonna do color work for these. We shall see. I have a lot of time to figure this out. I just wanted to get the yarn so I would be prepared. So I think that's it. Thank you so much for being here for my first ever podcast. I really, really appreciate it. I'm also going to briefly mention what I'm reading and watching, so if that's not interesting to you, thank you for being here. Feel free to leave. But reading is obviously a big part of my life, bookshelves, and I want to share what I have been reading. Okay, I have been rereading The Hurricane Wars by Thea Ganzen. Don't know if I said that right. I love this book. This book is for all of my Kylo Ren and Rey fans. If you love romance between a dark villain and the hero girl, this book is for you. I'm rereading it because I have an advanced reader copy of the second book that I want to get to, so rereading just for the fun of it before I read the second one. And then I've been watching a lot of Gigantosaurus, as I have mentioned. I've also been watching some Olympics, especially the track events. I love running, so I've been enjoying that. And also watching The Bachelorette. Let me know if you watch The Bachelor or Bachelorette and we can talk, because it is my guilty pleasure. I love the drama. Don't love being in drama, but I love watching drama. So that's what I've been reading and watching. And I think that's all for today. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you're knitting and watching and reading and all of that good stuff. And I will hopefully see you next time. Bye!